The sound of clicking glasses and polite laughter echoed through the ground marble hall of the Chian mansion. Crystal chandeliers hugs above like frozen tears, throwing their shimmering light over a room full of power, wealth, and secrets. Vine sits quietly at one corner, her hands clasped together, her smile practiced but hollow. She wore a soft pastel sari Jungkook's mother had chosen for her, elegant, proper, and suffocating. The air smelled of rich perfume and authority, the kind that could choke you if you dared to breathe too freely. It was the Jian family's annual gathering, a night where every powerful name in the business world come to bow before the Mafia King's family. And Vian, she was there because she was his wife, but that little had no warmth, no pride, only chains. Across the room, Jungkook stood tall in a trail black suit, his jaw sharp, eyes emotionless. He was talking to someone from the security division, his voice low and commanding. Even from a distance, Vian could feel his difference. He had not looked at her once tonight, just like every other night since their marriage. Vina's soft voice broke her thoughts. It was Jungkook's mother, Mrs. Jian, elegant and cold as winter itself. She smiled tightly, the kind that did not reach her eyes. Come, dear, you should stand next to Jungkook. People must see you as the lady of this Vian obeyed quietly, taking a small step forward her husband before she could reach him. A group of guests, older women dripping in diamonds, began whispering loud enough for her to hear. That's the girl they forced Jungkook to marry is not. She's so ordinary, poor boy. I hear she does not even attend the elite gatherings properly. No wonder Mr. Chian looks so stressed. Vine's fingers curled tightly around the edge of her sari. Her eyes burned, but she kept her expression still. She had leaned by now that showing pain only gave them more to gossip about. She stood beside Jungkook silently. He did not even glance at her. Smile, Mrs. Jian said softly, but Stanley behind her. You are impressing him. Vine forced a small smile. Her heart thudded painfully, embracing him when all she ever wanted was to be seen by him. Dinner began, filled with conversations she did not belong in. She barely touched her foot, stealing glances at Jungkook, who seemed covered from stone. Then it happened. Mr. Chian voice cut through the laughter at the table. Honestly, I wish my son had more time to focus on his business, but with all these responsibilities at home, her gaze drifted to Vian, a faint smile touching her lips. Sometimes I think we added more burden than help by bringing her here. The room fell silent for a second, followed by soft chuckles. One's breath hitched. Her fork slipped, clicking against her plate. Every eye turned toward her, pitying, mocking, or indifferent, but the word echoed inside her like a curse. Jungkook did not say anything, not a single word. He just continued eating, his face unreadable, his silence deafening. That silence hurt more than the insult itself. When dinner ended, Vine quietly excused herself, walking out of the hall before her tears betrayed her, her heels clicking against the marble floor as she escaped toward the garden, the cool night air hitting her face. She gripped the railing. Eyes brimming with tears, pardon, she whispered brokenly. Maybe I am one. She did not know how long she stood there until footsteps approached from behind. She turned. It was Jungkook. For a moment, she thought maybe he came to comfort her, but his voice was sharp, emotionless. Why did you leave the table? Because my mother watched. He interrupted, stepping closer, said something Ryan did not like. You are the one who just to be weak, Ryan. Stop acting like a victim. Her heart cracked. Jungkook, she called me a button in front of everyone. You could have said something. He looked away. I don't interfere in petty emotional drama. Her breath catch. Petty. His eyes met her, then cold, distant, and full of the hatred he never hid. You think I wanted this marriage? You think I wanted you? Her tears fell freely now. I never asked for it either, but I tried, Jungkook. I tried to make this home. You can't make a home in a cage, Ryan. He said, turning his back to her, and I never wanted a prisoner. He walked away, leaving her shattered under the moonlight. That night, Ryan sat alone in the vast empty bedroom, their bedroom, but his side of the bed was untouched as always. He stared at the ring on her finger, twisting it slowly until her vision blurred with tears. She thought about the girl she used to be, full of dreams, laughter, and warmth, the girl who believed love could fix anything. Now all she had was silence and the echo of a single word button, and somewhere deep down something inside her began to change. Not anger, not revenge, just the quiet decision to stop trying where she was never wanted. The next morning, sunlight filtered weakly through the sheet curtains, painting the floor in pale gold. Ryan woke up alone again. As always, Jungkook's side of the bed was untouched. His pillows, cold sheets, perfect folded. Her eyes felt heavy. She had not slept. Every time she closed them, the word button echoed inside her skull. She sat up slowly, pulling the blanket closer as if it could protect her from memories. Downstairs, she could already hear footsteps, bodyguards, maids, the low hum of the house that never really slept. The chair mansion was more of a fortress than a home, her cage. At breakfast, she sat at the table slightly. Jungkook was already there, scrolling through files on his table. His expression was unreadable, but his presence filled the entire room with cold authority. She whispered softly, trying to keep her voice steady. "Good morning." He did not reply. She swallowed hard, staring down at her plate. There was a time when she thought if she stayed kind, patient, and calm, maybe he would soften, maybe he had noticed her. But kindness had turned invisible here. After a few minutes, she stood up quickly. "I will have breakfast later." As she turned to leave, his voice deep and detached stopped her. "You are not going to your parents' place today, right?" She turned back, surprised he even remembered her parents. "No, why?" "My man will be inspecting the eat warehouse. You don't leave the mansion without permission." Her heart sank. "Permission?" "Yes," he said simply, without looking up. "If you live under my name, that means my rules." Her throat tightened. "I will under your name, Jungkook, not under your control." He finally looked up, those dark eyes slashing onto her, sharp and dangerous. "Don't test me, Ryan." She froze. He did not raise his voice, but his tone was like ice cutting through skin. She left her dining room without another word, her chest aching from the weight of everything unsaid. Later that day, she sat in her art room, the only space in the mansion that still felt like hers. The walls was covered with half-finished paintings. Silence witnessed of her loneliness. Her fingers trembled as she held a paintbrush, but she could not bring herself to start. Every color looked dull, every idea faded before it could form. Then she heard a knock. One of the maids, Sana, stepped in Geometry Ma'am's Mr. Chicken asked if you will be joined her for tea with the gates. One shook her head softly. No, I don't feel well. The maid nodded quickly and left, relief flickering across her face. Everyone in the house walks carefully like one wrong word could cost them their place. When stared out the window, it was raining lightly, soft drop tapping against the glass. The sound reminded her of home, of her mother's laughter, of a time when love was not this heavy, but those days felt like a different life evening. The mansion grew quiet as night fell. Jungkook had not returned yet. He had gone out for business, a world that covered everything dark about his life. She waited for him at dinner again, not because she expected him to come, but because her heart refused to give up its last habit. But as the clock struck 10, she realized he was not coming, so she stood up, walked to his study, and placed a small file on his desk. His divorce papers she had secretly been preparing for weeks, but never had the courage to complete. The pages were blank, unsigned, not yet. She did not want to end things in anger. She wanted to end them in peace, quietly, without more pain. She left the papers there and went upstairs the next day. Jungkook came home late in the morning, his shirt slightly wrinkled, eyes tight. As he entered his study, he noticed the file. He frowned, flipping it open, his eyes scanning the title. Divorce agreement. He froze, his jaw tightened for a few seconds. He just stared at it, at the bold word that felt like a challenge. His breath came out in a harsh laugh. She really wants to run? Oh, she closed the file slowly, his hands pressing against the desk as anger shimmered beneath his calm face. He did not believe she had actually lived. She was not the type to walk away. But something inside him, a strange, quiet unease, whispered that maybe this time she would. That evening, when Vian came down for dinner, she saw Jungkook already waiting at the table. It was here. He did not look up, just spoke in a low, cold tone. So this is what you are planning. Her heartbeat quickened. You read it. I did, he said, his jaw tightened. And you think you can just change it like that? Ryan met his gaze, his voice soft but steady. Jungkook, this is not life. We bravely talk. You hate me. Your mother can't stand me. I have died, but I am tired. He leaned back, eyes narrowing tight. You think I am not tired of pretending this marriage means anything? Her lips trembled. Then why hold on to it? Because I don't lose. Why? And he said sharply, not in business, not in family, not even in love. Love, she whispered bitterly. You don't even know what that is. The words slipped out before she could stop them. His eyes darkened, fully flashing through them, but underneath, for the briefest second, she saw something else, something like pain. He stood up abruptly, his chair scraping the floor. I don't care what my mother said. You're my wife. You are not leaving. Her eyes filled with tears. Why? Because you own me. She looked at her, then truly looked at her. Her trembling lips, her glassy eyes, the way her voice cracked when she sat on. And for the first time, his anger fluttered. He did not know what to say, so he said nothing. He just left. That night, Ryan packed a small bag, just essentials, a few clothes, her sketchbook, and her mother's photo. She walked quietly down the stairs, her steps soft against the marble. But as she reached the main door, she pushed. The rain outside was heavy again. Her eyes stung. Maybe this is wrong, she whispered to herself, but staying Phil rose. She opened the door but stopped when she saw a familiar figure standing in the rain. Jungkook, soft tight and silent, like he had been standing there for hours. Their eyes met for the first time. His expression was not cold, it was lost, confused, hurt. He looked at her back, then at her face. You are leaving. It was not a question. She nodded slowly, tears mixing with rain. Yes. Yes, where will you go? Somewhere. I am not a button. The word hit him like a bullet. He took a slow step forward, his voice cracking slightly. Fine. But before he could say anything more, she stepped back. Don't stop me. Jungkook, please. I don't have strength left to beg for love. And she walks past him into the rain, into the darkness, leaving the mansion and the man who never realized what he had until she started to disappear. To be continued.